A lot of times you can get discouraged if you're creating content because you feel like, hey, nothing's happening. But I think the goal of it is to, first of all, you want to get seen, right? And then you want people to engage with it and to basically to have it make them think and to remember you. You know, you're kind of building a brand.
All right, today we are here with Micah, Salas, Senior Vice President at Christensen Group. Welcome, Micah.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I've been watching your videos on LinkedIn, so really excited to get your perspective on the producer side as someone who's also making content.
Excited to be here and look forward to sharing with everyone.
Fantastic. So on that note, let's jump right into the hot topic today, which is content. So you recently posted a video in which you urged construction businesses to embrace cyber threat preparedness, breaking down cyber risk for business owners whose businesses aren't data focused and don't have cyber threats top of mind. The brokers add a lot of value to insurance as a hedge against risk. Where in the pecking order does content like this fit, and how effective have you found it to be?
As a broker or anyone marketing a product or service, it's tough to kind of pinpoint one action, right? I think it's an accumulation of a bunch of different things, you know, whether it's meeting with clients and basically just bringing it up to them directly, you know, sharing case studies, bringing in third parties. The carriers have a lot of great resources, like mock audits and things like that. But like I see content as a great way to, and really a non-threatening way to educate people. And I think as a buyer, you start to see all these different things, right? Like maybe your friend has a business and they have a story. Then you watch the news and something happened there. Then your broker brings it up. And then you're on LinkedIn and you saw a video about, you know, cyber, and it starts to kind of accumulate. And the great thing about the content piece, though, it's I use the word non-threatening because it's just educational, right? So there's no ulterior motive. There's no one across the table that's going to make a commission check, you know, if you buy it. So I think that helps, you know, a business owner feel just more confident that, okay, this is something that I can, he's kind of what this video is saying kind of lines up with what my broker is saying or with what the news is saying. And then they eventually feel that confidence and take the step forward and maybe purchase that cyber coverage or whatever the coverage might be.
I think that accumulation is a great point. You know, often they say in marketing that you have to hear, or the prospect has to hear the message, 7 times before it sticks. So I think that's probably a similar metric for anything, and risk preparedness and awareness certainly could be part of that. So yeah, hearing it in different ways from different sources. And one thing that strikes me about video as a content is that it is non-threatening. It can be so much more personable than like a typical PSA. You know, I think about your videos, you're kind of like talking right to the camera. It's like someone's across the desk from you, but in a non-threatening way, in that they're not going to slide the contract across the desk. Like
the people who are watching your content, you don't know necessarily. They're not the people clicking like or commenting, but someone called it lurkers, right? They're kind of lurking in the background and viewing this, and you just don't know they're watching it until the timing's right. And they say, you know what, I've seen this person's videos, I'm going to reach out. And that seems to kind of be the way it works.
That's a great point. Yeah, you get some high-level metrics from LinkedIn, right? Like, you know who liked, you know who commented, but you don't know who reached. Someone can stumble across it at any time of the day, and you don't necessarily know until they reach that threshold of then engaging in a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It works. It's working for you 24/7, right? So
awesome. Well, let's jump over to industry chatter, where we share a quote from someone else in the industry to get your reaction. So today's quote comes to us from Chip Basioko of Trusted Choice. So the quote is, "There are certain things that can be transitioned to self-service, and there are other things better left to professionals who have trained in the field. To me, making insurance self-service makes as much sense as making healthcare self-service. Even if I had the option to visit a self-service x-ray, I still wouldn't fully understand what I was looking at. So why would I think I could thoroughly understand a liability policy for managing my third-party liability risk to select the right coverage myself without expert help?" So your thoughts?
I think I get the point of what this quote is really getting at, which is saying that buyers probably ultimately want to delegate this out have someone they trust that's doing a 24/7 handle it. But ultimately, though, I would say let's let the market decide, right? If people thought automation was the way to go, I think we would see it go upstream, to every level of business. I think, like you see the Next insurances and all that on the, smaller businesses, I think it is going the more automated route. But again, all this bodes well for agents, right? Because if you know what you're talking about and you can kind of set yourself apart by the questions you ask and the things you bring up and the things you can recommend, I mean, that's a good thing, right? So we can all stay relevant, really.
Absolutely. Well, let's close it out with questions from the crowd, or resource questions from our BPTV audience. So today's question is, it's always been said that insurance is sold, not bought. Do you think that's changing, and should it change?
Okay, I think it is changing. I mean, with some of the policies that have become more commoditized because they are just simpler products that are easier to understand. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, like, hey, I can just go buy this. I don't need a person to advise me on that. In terms of should it change, it depends. I mean, if the market is saying, yeah, we want it to change, I think there could be some improvements on transparency and collaboration and trying to streamline some things. Definitely, I think there's room for that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm hearing a lot about Gen Z, so the generation coming up behind the millennials, and a lot about how entrepreneurial they are, that they're starting lots of small businesses, and they're getting the nickname Zoomer after Boomer, and kind of becoming known for being more risk averse than young generations in the past. So I'm really curious to see how that will impact insurance. Like, will all of these young entrepreneurs have a greater appreciation for insurance in the future? So only time will tell, but they're coming of age pretty quickly. I think of the oldest Zoomers are Zoomers. No, I'm calling them Zoomers. The oldest Gen Z are now mid-20s, and many of them are starting businesses quite young. So I think that could be another great opportunity on the broker side, to capture this, capture the business while it's up and coming, and sometimes it grows into something even bigger.
Yeah. And to bring it full circle, we let off this conversation, you talking about content, and a lot of times I'll get asked the question, what's your return been on your content and stuff? And I'm like, well, it's not awesome yet, right? Like, I don't really have a good metric to measure it, but I think long-term with the Zoomers and those other people, those future CFOs will be online. Those future business owners are online already. And if they've been seeing someone's content for 20 years or 15 years and now they're 35 and have a real, complex business or something that needs, an advisor, hopefully you're that face that's been in front of them. Or if you reach out to them, they're like, oh, I've seen you on, LinkedIn for the last 5-10 years. Sure. Yeah. Come on in. I really like what you do.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a long game. But yeah, I think you're killing it on the content side. So we'll end on that note. If you want to get some ideas for marketing to small businesses as a producer, follow Micah Salas on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. It was great to get your perspective on all things broker and content.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun to be here. Hopefully we can do it again.
Awesome. Thanks, Micah.